time for my UFC on FX5 recap video, and I'm going to make this very quick. Phil Harris didn't do quite as well as I thought he would, and I'm afraid Darren got the better of him. I think that one ended in a choke. Whoops. Bart Palazewski also dropped a decision loss to Diego Nunes, and one of the major reasons that might have happened was because, well, at least once in every round, when Diego hit him, unfortunately, Bart Palazewski would end up on his bot on the ground. I don't think that helped, really. Marcus Levasseur and his win over Carlo Prata came very, very, very close to making him the man of the card. I was quite impressed because I thought that he was not going to do so well against such a good calibre. Danny Castillo unfortunately got knocked out by Michael Johnson. There we are. What else? Is there anything else to say? I think Jake Ellenberger won by decision, as I said he might do. Oh yes, the main event. Travis Browne actually lost, but it was more to do with an injury than it was to do with the ground and pound. In the first round, some sort of leg kick caught him in the knee, and it was destined to happen that as soon as he put weight on that knee, it was going to go. And when it sort of went and he sort of fell to the floor, then he got grounded and pounded, and that was when it ended. But it was really the damage to his leg that caused the accident. Called the end of that particular match. Now there is just one other thing that I want to talk about, and that's the match that didn't happen between Jeremy Stephens, in fact, and Yves Edwards. And what happened was Jeremy Stephens couldn't compete because he was put in prison. And he was put in prison because he apparently missed some sort of court date in Iowa, and has been missing this court date for over a year, due to something that happened a year ago where he's claimed to have assaulted somebody. Of course, he professes his innocence. Now, interestingly enough, in the US, states in terms of crime and punishment have different laws, and therefore, despite being in the union, they have extradition laws between states as well. So Iowa is currently trying to extradite Jeremy Stephens from Minnesota back to their own state to presumably go forward with whatever trial they were supposed to do anyway. Why the gap in the year? Well, that's because states are also in the union, and unfortunately for them, they don't do what every other state that considers itself sovereign on the whole planet does, and that's make sure you have border checkpoints at the very least. No, they have a bridge, often, over a river, and it's debatable as to where exactly the line between one state and the other state that have extradition laws actually is, because there is no checkpoint on many of these river crossings, and I know because I've crossed several of them, probably even the one between Illinois and Iowa, which he may have crossed to get out of the state. So if you commit a crime, for example, in one state, what is to stop you from just going to the nearest border and walking across a bridge completely passable? Nothing to stop you, no border checks to see where you're going. Immigration from one state to another doesn't seem to be checked at all, so you go across the state, and as long as you don't use a plane, you can pretty much go by road anywhere you want. And so no wonder it's taken them a year to finally track him down to Minnesota, and that may be because, of course, he's on television, so he is actually, his whereabouts sort of are publicised. If he wasn't on television, goodness knows if they'd have ever caught him. And then, of course, they extradite him, and I suppose that's a formality unless it matters in the US which state you were born in. I don't know. Everywhere else on the planet, it does. It matters not only which country you did the crime in, but where you were born. Because if you're trying to be extradited to a place where you committed a crime from a place that you were born, they are usually a little unhappy to have one of their citizens charged under foreign law. But that's difficult, isn't it, with the states where they do have different laws on crime and punishment for different states, and yet can they really claim that they are foreign states, you know, and do they really care about which state a particular American is born in? Or is it just sort of a conglomerate, well, they're all Americans, so this extradition thing is merely a matter of formality? I don't know. Dana White certainly thinks that if they don't like him, they can take however long they want with this extradition, and he could wait forever before even going to trial, which is something that again happens with foreign extradition. Certainly it can take a very long process to get somebody from A to B and then the trial. I don't know. I think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. If he missed his court date, then he's well, how clever can you be if you're not totally aware of what's going on in that capacity? But equally, there's nothing stopping him from leaving the country. I mean, if the people at the state government had put some sort of checkpoint there, he would never have got out of the state in the first place, and this could have all been avoided, couldn't it? Because they could have sent him straight to court. 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, to be honest. They kind of need to make up their minds whether these are independent sovereignties in a union, or if they're unionised sovereignties with no independence. You know, that would clear up messes like this. So my man of the card is going to be Justin Edwards, because I've never really seen anybody submit Josh Neer quite so quickly and in quite such exciting fashion. Well done to him.